But anyway, welcome, beautiful Mara O'Grady. She is in Ireland right now. I am in Woodstock, New York. We spent time together in Ireland last year when she showed me around and opened up some of the mysteries of the land to me with her beautiful spirit. She's so tapped into the earth, into the stars. She's so tapped into her heritage, but she's also tapped into the universal magic that the new energies coming in. I do feel, Mara, you're one of those that has come here to really help steward in a new way while also holding true to the ancient ways. And and you have so many gifts, and I'm so excited to be able to work with you and share them with people, because certainly your presence has touched my life very deeply, and the wisdom and matriarchal magic that you have transmitted to me was, there's been some real life changing moments in in that connection. So I so Mara and I decided to create this beautiful course together for Americans primarily, but also for anybody who's feels a strong connection to Ireland and who feels you could live anywhere in the world, um, who feels like reconnecting to the root of your own indigenous place is is part of your life's journey. So, Mara, why don't
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit about how it is when you take people out on the land? What's that experience? What's your intention as you
Oh,
go into that?
well, thank you. I love you, sister. Thank you for that beautiful intro and for all weathering all of the technical stuff. We're here. We're here. So here in Ireland, it's a beautiful rainy summer's evening, and it. I can definitely feel there's a new aliveness in the land right now. It seems, through this kind of Leo portal and all that's coming alive in Ireland. It's so green right now. I don't think I've ever seen it so green and so multidimensional. Things are popping everywhere.
Wow.
So in terms of going on the land, I mean, it's so different depending on who is with me, in how that journey unfolds and where we go. As you know, because we did our few little journeys together when you were over here. And so it's really the way I've been working with people that have come to me through the years here is tuning into their own unique soul ancestry and asking and bridging across with the overlighting devas and the what I receive them as the star elders that are the ancient ones of Ireland. They're also known as the Tua de Danann, the people of Danu, of the goddess Danu. And they really they came in ships onto the land here, and definitely of star orientation, as far as I'm concerned, in what I experientially know in my own being. So we dialogue with those beings, and then whoever is coming here, just acting as a mediator for them to connect with not necessarily the most visited sacred sites or stone circles, but the places of land that call directly to their soul and biological ancestry. So that can look any which way. It could be just a little bluff on a coastal wild village space, or it can be one of the bigger sacred sites. It just depends, because there's so much here. There's so many layers of sites that have already been uncovered archaeologically, and there's more. We've had a lot of emergence in the last year of a whole new complex up in the east of Ireland, where some of the mega temples are, Newgrange and Nowth. There's been drone coverage of unearthing of many more temples and new information on what that can look like for our history, and
Wow.
and and who we're connected to going back, right? So yeah, so that's how I
And
would start with people.
great, great. You were telling me earlier that you were going to go visit some sites in the next day that you're asking some permission from the land there because we're going to
Yeah.
bring it into our course. And then you mentioned like an Egyptian thing. So could you just talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, and first off, I'd say like I'm not a historian. This is my own lived direct experience with the energies by through visiting these land spaces over many years. And so, you know, I don't always have a huge body of history for people, and I'm also not a whole authority. There are amazing people in Ireland with their own unique bodies of work around all of these places and interpretations. So for me, tomorrow, because my CC and I are working on this course together, and we're in deep dialogue with the energies that we are going to be working with and the places and spaces that we're going to visit and move through energetically on the course. So for me, I feel I have to visit if I can, or revisit some of those places and ask permission to open to the current energies there and to bridge that way forward for whomever shows up for this container with us, this sacred immersion, which we begin at equinox on September 22nd. So I'm heading down to the Kingdom of Kerry, they call it, down in the south. And it really is like I could hear the elemental beings down there. They're very different regionally. You know, there's actually a different sense of elemental being in the different regions of Ireland, from what I feel, and very strong leprechaun energy down there that I've interacted with over the years. So I got the call for the last month was Kingdom of Kerry. I just kept getting the call. You have to come down. You have to come down and visit. So that's where I'm going tomorrow. And there's numerous sites down off that coast. There's the Dingle Peninsula. There's also Skellig Michael, the mega portal, where the Atla Ra, the ancient Druid ley lines, they enter the planet there. They call them the Michael and Mary ley lines. They actually enter at this Atlantean mountain peak off that south coast. And so the radius of this vortex is like 100-mile radius. So you're in the pulse of that, all
Wow.
down in that Kingdom of Kerry area. So yeah, so I'm going down there to do a little ceremony and to connect in with a place I haven't been yet. This is actually a new place. I've been meaning to get there for years. It's Queen Scotia's grave, and it basically is kind of a whole nature area with a megalithic stone configuration with Egyptian glyphs all over the stone. And they
Oh.
say that they say it's the remains of Queen Scotia, who would have been one of the first ones to come to Ireland with an Egyptian pharaoh. She was a pharaoh's daughter, I believe. And so there's a lot of myth around her and her dying on the south coast of Ireland, and what that represents in terms of the Egyptian iconography and how that's connected to Ireland and through to the Middle East. So there's so much in there uh, around that. So I'm going down to connect and to see what wishes to come forth around the goddess energy, around um, the Isis mysteries, and anything else that is interwoven with that for our journey.
Oh, I didn't even know we were going to be going there. But you know what,
I didn't
Mara?
either.
You always go full goddess. She's like, I'm going to take your goddess and I'm going to raise it. Three more goddesses.
Well, you know, there's so much for us to explore with Ireland. There are so many angles, there are so many pathways. And one of the ones that I'm really passionate about, another one is actually I'm just reading a book here. It's the Round Towers of Ireland, and they're linked to Atlantis. And the Round Towers, I've been working with them for a good few years around Ireland, and they are very unique to Ireland. They're like the Shiva Lingams of Ireland. You know, they're the connection with India, the connection with Persian, architecture as well, and just that masculine solar consciousness that gets seeded into the earth for fertility. And
Mm-hmm.
and so there's a lot around them, around the Round Towers as well, that I want to be weaving in. So yeah, there's there's a lot.
Well, that's great. Speaking of the goddess, we want to be working with our, Ireland is like a giant underground water
Yeah.
aquifer. What would you call it? And this water creates all these wells
Mm.
all over. And when I was in Ireland, I went to several of the wells and prayed by them, and was really, really aware of, as I was walking on the land, that there was this like bubbling up of water constantly, that the goddess and the waters and the meeting of the water and the air and this sort of in between worlds that it creates, especially in the Burren area.
Mm.
Um, and so I wonder if you might speak a little bit to these wells and how we're going to interweave those in the course and maybe some of the mystery around them or mythology.
Sure. We were going to work with wells in each of the districts. So we're moving through Ireland in a spiral, and we're going to work with specific wells that I have a connection with, and I'm going to gather the water, and we're actually going to work with the deep body of the fluid feminine of that holy sacred water to cleanse, to purify, and to activate on all the levels that are going to be called forth through these specific waters, because they actually have different powers, or so they say, that each particular well around Ireland, many of them are attributed to different saints, many to the goddess Bridget or Saint Bridget in the more Catholic tradition, um, and each one of them attributed to a specific cure. So, there will be hundreds and hundreds of years of pilgrims visiting the wells. And up to this day, it's still very active culture here that, that people visit the wells, they take the cure, as they call it. So they take the water, they will, do prayers, leave offerings of things, maybe prayers for sick relatives or for themselves. They leave all sorts of paraphernalia at some of these wells, and some of them are so protected, like some of them are very Catholic overlay, and a larger Christian faiths overlay, and then there's some of the deep magical pagan ancient goddess ones that are natural wells in the landscape.
Mm.
So there's so many they're all there's many, and each one really, the magic is, I believe in it. I believe in it strongly. They're living waters, and each one is imbued with those specific magical properties. Obviously, there's the collective body of the water energy and the feminine that's held here in the land, but the specific cures as well, definitely.
That's incredible to me. I also learned that, that the wells have different mineral properties. So along with spiritual energetic
Right.
elements, there was actually some physical reasons why people would go to certain wells and feel better because they needed those. They're so strong and whatever mineral they had that it would balance out their system. Um,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
to me also, it's incredible to have a culture that still, even though it's modernized and the English were there for 800 years and all this stuff, like squashing the feminine as they do,
Yeah.
um, that still this practice of being with the waters and being with the wells as a feminine experience, even in the Catholic, version of it, it's still a feminine saint. So you're still
Yeah.
praying to the goddess each and every time. And this is just like you're driving on the road, and I would see these wells just
Mm.
driving. And so they're like right in front of your face, and they're also deep into the land, hidden, and they're everywhere. And
Yeah.
that to me, like as an American woman who's literally been trying to like smash the patriarchy since she was born, it's just been in me my entire life. Like, why do the boys get to do this and we don't? It was always, always there to arrive into the matrix of Ireland and to feel the goddess energy
Mm.
like that as a European based person, um, with my bloodline there, my DNA held in the memories and in the land there. There was I relaxed there like for those 2 weeks that I was there. It was like the entire fight of my being just left, because the thing that I'm fighting for in this lifetime was already there. And I realized
Right.
that, this thing that I want is not in my imagination. It's a real and lived experience,
Mm.
even through, a modern society. And of course, I've heard for you that because you're there, you're going to be seeing all the stuff that I'm maybe not paying attention to. I'm coming as a visitor, but this struck me as soon as I got there, like, oh, I can put the sword down because the goddess is alive and well here.
Mm.
And I didn't want to come back. Honestly, I just didn't, like, with that element of my life purpose kind of released. I felt so
Right.
free to just kind
Yeah.
of create and sing and have a good time. And so that's the other element. Like, I looked across
Mm.
the Atlantic. I can remember sitting on the cliffs of Moher and just sort of looking across the Atlantic like, oh dear, we really have some issues, and I'm like, oh, I just didn't want to go back. I didn't want to go back.
No, I know.
Um, and but obviously this is the karma that I birthed into for a reason, and everybody who chose to incarnate here incarnated probably on one hand because they wanted to be involved in whatever, like, la lucha, the the sort of like multicultural stew of, like, we got to work this out. I mean, that is so much a part of what's happening here. Like, we got to figure this out together.
Yeah.
And it was like a respite from that over there, a little bit of a respite, like, I'm not the bad guy over here. I am, like,
Yeah.
the indigenous person here. I am, there's an understanding that the colonization towards the indigenous Irish was, like, so brutal for them too. And I got to just be, and that was just how my soul feels. And then I come over
Yeah.
here and I'm the settler. I'm the bad guy. And it's like an incredible projection and energy to live under. And I was so used to it, to go over there and have it be gone. I cried.
Mm.
You saw me. I mean, I wept
I
a lot. I
remember.
wept a
Yeah.
lot. And so I want to share, if I can, that
Mm.
experience of, like, the love of who we are, um, and the love of our own ethnicity, the love of our own indigenousness, the love of
Mm.
our own journey. Our own journey hurt other people here on this continent, and we were hurt people who hurt people, which is so much the story
Mm.
of humanity. And so, at any rate, I just went on a
Mm.
tangent about that. But that was, as an American, as a North American, and a United States American, like,
Yeah.
this is a karma that we live every day. We live this every day. So,
Mm.
um, I think building the bridge into that memory of what you're
Right.
speaking of, the holy wells of the goddess, of our indigenous practices, building the bridge into that memory is very, very healing. And it also helps solve the unspeakable mystery of our
Mm.
missing sense of belonging.
Yes, exactly. The bringing home, the coming home into the arms of the mother, wherever that motherland is. That that's what the well is holding, really.
Yeah.
That you're able to come back into her arms and into her mysteries, and and that you're received home. And I think that's a huge part of this, of like that reconciling those who've left and never got to come home, those who feel so disconnected and grief stricken through the generations, that they never got to come home, those souls. And it's so important. It's so important. She's calling us home now, you
Yeah.
know. And whatever is held here in the land of Ireland, like that emerald energy, it's true, it's alive. There is a multi-dimensional level of new heart energy, that is the ancient heart, but the fusion of the future heart, that I feel this land holds for us moving forward. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that magic, that pure heart magic. And I feel that's why I've come back continuously. I've wanted to leave so many times because of what I have to work through as an Irish soul, and the layers of, the layers of that suppression, and of, the not being able to share your magic in that way, which is worldwide, right? But it's yeah, that level of secrecy, and not being able to shine and share the true heart magic in the way that actually is being called forth now. Now is the time for that, and it's emerging through the elementals. It's emerging through the consciousness of the land now here,
Mm,
to fully support that. So
right.
in a whole new way, layer by layer by layer. And so we're seeing, like, so many, well, I've been seeing anyway in the last few years, the different waves of seeded ones, and different people that are really getting the call to come over here and plant their feet here, so that
Hmm.
helps synergize and open these new gateways here as well. And that's what this journey is about too. We need
Yeah.
that. It's actually a call to service for your ancestral soul, re what's the word I'm looking for? Reconnection, and recollection of those soul lineages, and also to help the collective heart, which needs a huge helping hand in these times.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
The energy there, so pure, carrying that heart energy. There's a reason why it's all green and called the Emerald Island or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it is so purifying in love. It is so connected that people in your day-to-day interactions, there's a lot of warmth, so much warmth in the
Yeah.
interactions. And we're trying to deal with a lot of things right now, and an
Mm.
injection of love, an injection of heart energy. Like we really need it. We need to
Yeah.
continually purify with all of the chaos and the fighting and the anger, outrage, all that stuff. Purify it in this loving energy, because if we're not growing through all of this, if we're just staying in the fight, and not
Mm.
sort of integrating it into the heart and into love and into that bigger vision of being in the human family together on this planet and surviving, and beyond that, thriving and doing way better, like
Mm.
then we're really lost, you know? And I
Yeah.
do feel like what you say, so much of part of that is connecting these timelines, the ancient timelines from when we lived close to the earth and kind of knew who we were more, and were held in a system of rites of passages and all the stuff that identifies you as an earth being, you know,
Yeah.
and into the, not just the crossing across the ocean, but that shift, after the Industrial Revolution, where we got so excited about the forward movement of technology. I think there was also just the excitement about certain things in life becoming a lot easier, you know?
Right.
Sometimes we all kind of glorify the past and romanticize it, but the reality is, like,
Hmm.
running water was awesome. And like electricity, I think was, probably really awesome. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, and you just kind of get carried away by technology, and we're still doing it. We're still kind of carried away by, like, ooh, look at my little gadget. Like, it's awesome. So we need to connect these timelines, and
Mm.
so we can weave in a coherent way through the future, heart connected, connected to
Right.
each other, connected to the land, connected to our roots, bowing to our multicultural DNA, because even as a
Mm.
European American, I have many different um, bloodlines running through me. We all
Yeah.
come from the ancientness of somewhere, and
Exactly.
there's been many goes to of, like, the human race. I think it's just so much more complex than we imagine.
Yeah.
But we're
Yeah.
coming together today harmoniously. It would be nice.
If absolutely, we for sure, and that's what we have to continually reorient to, right? That we come back into that place. And we need, Ireland needs the multicultural, like, it needs all of this fusion of these different cultures as well, to help us here, to help us open, and to bring that perspective, to this land, and to help it open further. So
Mm.
it's time for that, and I think that's why so many people are drawn here for there's so many other reasons, obviously, and there's so much still uncovered here that we've yet to touch upon and open to, the true connection of here, because there's a lot in the Christed lineages as well, that Magdalene and Yeshua, went through mystery school teachings here. So there's so much here,
Mm.
really. But we
Well,
need people
I'm
to come.
excited for you to take
Yeah,
us there.
yeah,
Well, we can't
yeah.
go anywhere right now, but
No, but
that's
we'll be
why we're
going
doing
in
this
our vehicle, our
virtually.
multidimensional vehicle. We'll
Our
be
little
on the
Merkaba. We take our little
spirit
Merkabas.
boat. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna sail around and connect into these lands, and part of the way we'll do
yeah,
that also is by creating a well at home. We're gonna be building wells. We're gonna be listening to the old songs, the Irish songs, singing songs. Because so much a part of Ireland is its creative spirit. It is literally just one of the most
yeah,
alive places I've ever been creatively, with the music and the art and the celebration of the arts. Like the whole country when I was there had like an arts day, and like
everywhere.
do you remember everywhere? People
Yeah,
take their arts to the street, and because just to celebrate it. And Ireland has such an amazing history of how the arts are really a shamanic process of expressing
yeah.
spirit through form. And just so we'll do some of that. We're going to touch on that too.
Exactly. That's going to be totally woven in, because it is, the Tuatha De Danann were famous for their magical gifts of song and poetry and artistry and all of that. So
Oh,
it's
really?
really, yeah, yeah.
Well,
So
tell us more about that. Can you tell us? Can you know
well,
any?
they were the bardic gifts. So all of those bardic traditions, the sacred songs, the incantations, all of those, well, the harp, of course, is such a tradition, and in terms of journeying and going on journeys, with going on the shamanic journey through the tones, through the songs, and through the poetry.
Mm.
So that's, yeah, and that's so alive here, and so alive in the stones. So songs were imprinted and encoded into the stones and into the waters and all of that. So I think that would be a great thing to work with us with the well waters that we're going to prepare. Actually, when whatever wells that we're bringing into the weave, we're going to get people to have their own sacred spring water, and we're going to make homeopathic transfusions of the waters into those, and so that magical water is accessible where they are.
I I'm that's songs encoded in the stones.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just gonna sit with that. I'm gonna go lie on some stones and like sing to them,
yeah,
give them songs to carry in the memory. That is like,
yeah,
I love that. And interesting, you took me to an amazing set of rocks by the ocean on the drive up to Connemara, where I
yeah,
was like, I don't even know, every spot we went to just hit me so deeply. And now that I'm thinking about it, it was like the rock felt like I was lying down in a song, a powerful
yeah,
song.
yeah.
And as the waves came in, it was an unbelievable transmission, energy, fully alive.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
Well, is there anything else you wanna maybe share before we close this
I
out?
Well, no, I think there's enough in that. I think it's to just to speak to that it's an evolving journey, and that it's listening. We're going to be listening and tracking the energies to see where they want to take us. So it's not set in stone, that it is really listening, uh, and to see the group of souls that are part of this weave as well. There's going to be that's a unique journey in itself. So we'll see where on the land the land wishes to take us, and that's something we'll be tuning into on a weekly basis through it. Yeah,
Mm, I
yeah,
cannot wait. So yeah, so it's a 6 week journey starting
yeah.
September 22nd on the equinox, and I was in Ireland a year ago with Mara on the equinox.
You were, yes. Oh, of course.
Hmm. So I think that's a perfect time to start.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's going to be a beautiful journey.
Mm. And
So thank
powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, if it's with Mara, it's, going to
Well,
be super potent.
it's all of us showing up for this. I can feel it. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, actually, I can too.
okay,
The
it's
ancestors,
coming
I was
in.
telling more, yeah, last night they all came in to my space. I went deep into my trance meditations that I do to commune with spirit, and it was like all the ancestors came in, but the ancestors came in from everywhere. They were
Yeah.
not just Irish. There were some Peruvian elements that came in also.
Yeah.
Really beautiful Peruvian beings that came forth. The papas, the potatoes. I was like in this
Oh,
dialogue with this beautiful
yeah.
Peruvian mother talking about all the papas, the potatoes with me. And to think about it, like the potatoes in Peru, the potatoes in Ireland, like I just sort of like put that together. I was like, this is interesting. I just called in my Irish ancestors and this beautiful Peruvian woman has shown up. So we are
That's
open to the
amazing.
magic unfolding because this is spirit's gig,
Mm,
right? Spirit's gig, and
exactly.
we're here for it.
Yep. Yeah. Perfectly said. Exactly. Thank you. Thanks, Cece. It's been a joy. Thank you for figuring out how to get us on here today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. And I just love that, you can be in Ireland and I can be here and we can do this. And I love you and
Thanks to
talk to
everyone
you.
for whoever has been
Yeah.
here. Thank
Thank
you.
you for watching. Yes. You're the best people.
Blessings.
Blessings.
Slán.
Alrighty, I'm ending.